Fender Jaguar is one of my all-time favorite guitar designs, and I feel like they got a lot right in the early 1960s when it was first released. Short scale length, matching headstocks, an amazing vibrato system that's shared with the Fender Jazzmaster, awesome electrical layout that's super unique and intuitive, both the rhythm circuit and the sliders to switch between pickups and the strangle. There was a lot to love about that guitar in its original form, even with the vintage radius and the vintage style spiral bridge. Fender, in current day, however, don't appear to have the same love for that initial design as I do. Today we're going to be checking out all of the models that are available right now new from Fender and trying to figure out why is it? Why is Fender not giving the Jaguar the same treatment that they give to other offsets, such as the Jazzmaster? We're going to start off talking about Fender Mexico. I'm not going to be talking about any of the Squire versions of Jaguars today. Earlier this week, they released the new updated Player 2 series, and one of the biggest selling points of the entire line was the fact that they switched from Palfaro back to rosewood. That had a lot of people really excited, and a Jaguar was included in this new line. When I saw the guitar though, I was a bit confused because it had a gigantic plastic pickguard and no rhythm circuit installed on it. I thought to myself, maybe I'll hold out hope. If you remove the pickguard, the body would be routed like some of the other models Fender Mexico makes that we will discuss momentarily, and you could install your own rhythm circuit. And at the very least, despite the fact that that guitar does come with modern specs on the neck, a 9.5-inch radius and a satin feel on it, you could at least get the traditional control layouts and electrical components correct. Unfortunately, you can't do that. I saw on a different person who reviewed that guitar, that is not routed whatsoever. So that one is off the table. What you see is what you get. If you dig that, I'm happy for you. But for people that want, more vintage correct things, not gonna fly. That moves us on to another guitar that is not vintage correct at all, but I know has a big following by many people and many of his fans. And that's the Kurt Cobain. Comes with two humbuckers. What do I have to say? Off the list. Next, the Vintera 2s. And this is where I feel like Fender really missed a golden opportunity that they took advantage of with the other two offset guitars, the Jazzmaster and the Mustang. Both of those guitars had versions with rosewood fingerboards on them. The Jaguar, however, they decided to give it the 70s look, and that meant a maple fingerboard with black block inlays, and as far as body colors go, you have to like white or black, so nothing really custom colory, nothing really fun in that sense. And for a lot of us, at least for myself, when I speak and I think about a traditional old school vintage Fender Jaguar, I'm seeing a matching headstock on a custom colored guitar and a rosewood fingerboard. And that brings us to Fender USA, home of the American Vintage 2 lineup of guitars that include its brother the Jazzmaster. Surely the Jaguar will be included in this, since it was included in the previous American Original series, the American Vintage Reissue series that included the 1965 Pure Vintage Jaguar, and the American Vintage Original lineup, the 62 Jag. You would be wrong, because the only production model that Fender USA makes that's Fender Jaguar is the Johnny Marr. Now granted, this guitar does have some vintage flavoring to it, and I know a lot of people that really do dig this. It does have a 7.25-inch radius, a rosewood fingerboard, a chunky 65 neck profile to it. You're going to have to live with his gigantic signature at the top of the headstock unless you want to sand that thing off. However, it's once you get to the body where things really start to deviate from the original control layout. There's no rhythm circuit. It's replaced by two bright switches. Those three little sliders that we all know and love from the old school Jaguars, that's gone in favor of a four-way blade switch. A lot of people, again, they really do dig this. You can even put the pickups into series on that guitar. And speaking of the pickups, they're not even Fender pickups. They're bare knuckle pickups. The bridge is a Mustang bridge that's been slightly modified to really kind of imitate a stay trim. I got no problems with that. I think that's a really quality piece of kit. And you have the regular vibrato that would come standard on an American Vintage should they make it. But that's it. That's the only production option you have. And for those of you saying, what about the mod shop? You have the same kind of problems. You're only going to be able to get the modern sorts of wiring and electrical components, and when it comes to the pickup choices, you only have one choice, and that is going to be the V-mods. Mustang bridge, no option for a vintage bridge, and the regular vibrato. No matching headstocks on any production or mod shop Fender Jaguar are available. Bottom line is, if you live in the United States of America and you go to Sweetwater, or you live in Europe and you go to Thomann, you type Fender Jaguar into the search bar, those are going to be the only ones that you're going to find outside of the Fender custom shops. And those are priced so high that I would consider purchasing an actual vintage Fender Jaguar at that point. So what is it? Are these guitars just not popular in their vintage kind of form anymore, or do people only want them in their new kind of modified versions? The used market says no. You go to Reverb and you type in American Vintage Fender Jaguar, there's not going to be a ton of them because they're scarce, and the people that do have them are reluctant to let them go because there isn't a replacement model new available from Fender that's a like for like. The premiums are really up there when those instruments. Some of them even carry prices if it's a really desirable custom color that would rival what a used custom shop would cost, and that gets some people hesitant to pull the trigger, and this is all because there isn't a modern equivalent being made. However, there is one place that still does give the Jaguar the love, the respect, and the designs that it deserves. It's Fender Japan. I say Fender Japan for last because if you live in the United States of America or Europe, these are not guitars that you're going to be able to go to your Fender retailer and purchase. They're intended for the Japanese domestic market only and can be purchased new only as such. There are a few other small countries that do get these guitars as well, and there have been instances where we here stateside and across the pond have gotten some limited quantities in past years. However, as a whole, not as easy to get as something like a Player 2, a Vintera, or an American Vintage Fender guitar. Currently, there is one production model Fender Jaguar that's not a signature, and that is the traditional 60s. That one has a rosewood fingerboard, a 9.5-inch radius, vintage fret wire, a rhythm circuit, the 3 slider switches for your pickup selection, the vintage style bridge, and a classic vibrato. That's really cool, but where things really start to get interesting are the Fender special runs that are shop ordered. You get everything from different custom colors, and believe me, I've seen almost all of them that have been available from Fender. You have some that come with a little bit more modern specs mixed in with vintage. You have 7.25-inch radius, medium jumbo frets. Some of them have neck binding. Some of them have a little bit of a different thing going on with the bridge. Instead of the vintage bridge, it's a Mustang bridge. Regardless, the key here is they have options, and they're available to them at a reasonable price. This guitar is a perfect example of a Fender Japan Special Run Jaguar. It's absolutely killer, and I wish we had stuff like this available new to us in the United States of America. However, the fact of the matter remains, we do not. But there are some problems that arise from this. If you want one of these, they're not made anywhere near in the same amount of numbers as something like a Vintera 2 or an American Vintage 2. So you're going to have to kind of be first come, first serve with that. And if you miss the boat on it, you're going to have to buy it used or from a reseller on Reverb. And that brings us back to the same exact problem we were discussing with the older American Originals and the American Vintage Jaguars that are for sale there. Prices are really high. I know that in the offset community, people get really upset at some of these shops and some of these sellers. Hell, I've had people mad at me over stuff like this. But one thing that I initially wish I had touched on when I made a video years ago explaining how to buy these guitars directly from Japan was a guitar or any commodity is worth what the market is willing to pay for it. If you're not happy with certain shops and their pricing, the best thing that you can do is just not pay it. Eventually, once people realize that, oh wait, this isn't selling for this much anymore, the prices will correct themselves. So you can get mad about it all you want, so long as there's people that are going to be willing to pay these premiums, and Fender United States of America refuse to put out reissues anything like this, problem's going to remain. I apologize for going off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's important to remember all of this does tie together. Fender USA If you were to put this guitar into the American Vintage 2 lineup and the Vintera 2 lineup and offer people alternatives to the Fender Japan guitars, everyone would win. You would make more money because remember, FMIC is a different company from Fender Japan entirely. And on the used end of things, because there's more supply, the prices would come down on the American-made models. And I have the Fender Jazzmaster as the perfect case study to prove that. Look up an American Vintage 2 Jazzmaster used. New, I believe they're $25.99. You can get them used pretty much all day for $1,600 to $1,700. Nitro finish, made in the USA, G&G hard shell case, and all the traditional appointments on it. Do the same thing with the Jaguar. You'd make a lot of people like myself very happy. Let me know in the comments section what you think. Is there a reason why Fender won't make one of these guitars in the United States of America? If so, why? If you could pick any custom colored Jaguar, let me know what it would be. Thank you for watching today's video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take it easy, everybody.